Good morning. I am going to be doing, with the times right now, it's actually a beautiful morning. So I am going to be doing a reading on America today. Interesting. America. What's going on? It seems there's the wish. So something is coming in. It won't be very fast, unfortunately. It's going to be a decision about control. There's going to have to be a new type of reform, a new restructure. In what essence, we will see. But I thought I'd have some fun with this video because I see that the world's going nuts. For good reason, might I add. George Floyd, like everyone else, seems to be the catalyst towards this new, how do I want to say this? Is it new even? I think people are just, not. The energy is hard-headed. People are not agreeing for sure. There's Hangman and King of Cups, so that tells me that the people are tired of being stuck. They're tired of being lynched. They're tired of being locked up. They're tired of being enslaved by people who don't seem to empathize, don't seem to recognize, don't seem to acknowledge, appreciate, whatever the word is, altogether. This will be the end of a cycle. This will absolutely be the end of a cycle. Things will be moving forward, not very rapidly, unfortunately, but things will definitely be moving forward, and that's just from me shuffling. So what I do want to do today is I want to check the oracle. Let's see. We have Mat and Lakshmi. Demeter came, but she came upside down. So we will see what these mean in just a second. We have Joy upside down also. Matt tells me that there is room for justice, that there is definitely room for justice, but only up until that the emotions start to filter out. So the passion, the rage, the sadness, everything right now is coming to the forefront just to bring in this abundance of justice, right? So this is a time where justice is absolutely necessary. And it can no longer be put on hold. It can no longer be something that's procrastinated. It has to be something that's dealt with immediately. And just like we're seeing in the media right now, things have been put on pause for this whole. The riots have brought attention to what actually needs to be eradicated, the real virus, I should say. There is a lot of fear that there won't be any reform or justice for George Floyd, but I do feel that there will be. It just won't come at a time where we think it won't look how we want it to look. It's going to have to take some acceptance and equality for people to recognize that this fight is stupid. Jeez. There is a new dawn coming, the light after the darkness, unfortunately, but things have to come to a boil until they can explode, and I think that's what we're actually seeing right now, especially in terms of America. I actually want to reshuffle those because I feel like I want to channel this energy just a little bit more. Forgive my nose. Give me 1 second. Let me blow my nose. Jesus. Okay. Sorry. I'll take my videos more seriously one day, but not today. I want to focus on America. And that opportunity comes in, that black cat. There is room for growth here, okay? While it might look very chaotic right now, it might look very, I don't know about this. Yeah, no, we have those cards right back again. Spirit is saying, listen, this is the time to bring in healing into your home, right? So what this looks like is locally. Whatever you can do locally, whatever you can organize within your local community, bringing in that volunteering energy, that humanitarian, making sure that you're following your intuition, not to speak too much. You say more with less nowadays, and you don't want to be caught. You don't want to be put in a position where you're caught in a blind spot, okay? So this acceptance and equality that we're all going through right now, the struggle, right, that we're all going through right now in terms of accepting and finding equality within the Black community, as well as every other community involved, we're starting to see that people are wearing their scars on their sleeves, and they're starting to fight back, which is absolutely necessary. So this will bring in that opportunity to kind of open up the community in a way where we're building stronger foundations, right? So that strong root, we need that strong root in order to kind of find that joy and rejoicing in the present. So what I will say is, right now, the most that we can do for ourselves is to find our communities locally, and help locally, because if we can help each other out where we live, right, our communities, our little spaces, then that's what's really important. Because although the fight and the rage and the emotion is absolutely necessary, do not get me wrong, the riots do need to happen. That's how we get shit done, okay? Things have to be done also to help the community, whereas if you're cleaning up, if you're buying fruits and snacks for the people who need it, or whatever it is that you're sharing with your community, whether it's a helping hand, helping with the mowing the lawn, maybe this, especially during this time of quarantine, right? This time of quarantine is exactly what we kind of need to figure out within our communities that we can help each other with. So how you can add on to one person's life and how they can add on to yours. So what this also tells me is the fact that finances will not be as valuable. It's what you can offer someone in terms of maybe spirituality, maybe household projects, just rebuilding foundations for people, just rebuilding trust, right? So rebuilding trust in your communities. So what this looks like is getting out and talking to your neighbor, having those Bible studies, making sure that you're allowing people to express their anger in a way where it's not necessarily physical. Although physical isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong, once again, it's just a matter of how you express it and how it's being held in the body that can really affect someone's health, right? So with that also, letting go of the rage is absolutely important too, because especially as we see with these riots, we're starting to see that a lot of what the police are doing is actually setting up traps. They're setting up traps to basically force people into this chaotic nature where you're being put in a position that goes back to that blind spot that I was talking about. You're being put in a position to kind of not pay attention to where you might lack, not pay attention to where things might not make complete sense to you, but later on are actually very crucial. So with that being said, is if you are out there protesting, make sure that you have support. Make sure that you have people you can call on and tell them what's going on, so they can come immediately and help you out. Whether that's at the hospitals, whether that's at just having family close by. I do see room for a little conversation that will help, but at the same time, I don't think that things will be changing immediately as of right now. There will probably be some stupid CNN post or Trump also saying something stupid again. I'm seeing water though. There's something to do with water that has a lot. Yeah, there's this communication about things might not move as forward as we might want them to, unfortunately, for right now. But this opportunity to build a new reform is going to propel us into a position where Black communities stay close-knit. And I think this is what we actually really need right now, because if we can focus on that community, that communal setting, whether it's finding one common enemy or just allowing things to just come together so we can find this energy of healing, right? So it's not to kind of say we're allowing people in, it's just to say that we need to focus on who we are as a collective, as a Black people, as whoever it is that you're really you're fighting for, I should say, whoever the fight is for. Let's see. Yeah, now is the time to really express your gratitude for the people in your lives right now. It's to really show gratitude in a way where there's not going to be nothing is going to change systematically. We have to take ourselves out of it, and that's how I feel. And in order to do that, right, in order to do that, that would mean to buy locally, buy Black. That would mean to basically support who you are, support your people. I'm seeing though there's a deep need to rebuild foundations in the local communities where like I don't want to say churches, but churches could be a help, but they're just not speaking enough for me right now to kind of really include them in this conversation, unfortunately. And that's not to put anyone else's church down. If they are, more power to you. We appreciate what you're doing. It's just a matter of finding food banks, finding just people who are willing to kind of incorporate a voluntary program, whether that's rebuilding communities that offer little boy, big brother, little girl kind of things, where it's like you have mentors teaching little children, and you have those mentors being taught by the adults in the community. I think there has to be a huge emphasis. There has to be a huge emphasis on leadership. Leadership has to be a thing. There has to be someone who stands up. And if we're being put down constantly, if the Black man is being put down constantly, there has to be a reason for that, because of the power. There has to be leadership in that power, because what we're seeing right now is a huge decline in leadership, especially in the Black male community. And that's not to invalidate those who are leaders, okay? That's not to invalidate those who are leaders, but there will be a decision made, and it will not be in accordance to the justice that we are looking for. Then I think that would be the catalyst to turning ourselves back from whatever this communal, this collective kind of energy will be. I think that taking your coin out of it, basically, there's this emphasis on separating yourself from the poison, and I think we have to really get right in our minds in order to completely recognize the opportunity that this is to really learn esoteric knowledge, really, truth be told, because I think this esoteric knowledge is what will be our catalyst to fighting back. I think that acknowledging the power, innate power that we have, which is also physical, don't get me wrong, right? That means building foundations within houses. That means finding people who can teach the children something more of value rather than what we were forced to be taught. I think also a lot of what has to happen right now is to, let's see, I want to do a different spread. I'm about to do a different spread in a second. Yeah, while there is room for rebuilding, I just think we need to throw it all away. And in order to do this, we have to separate ourselves from it, right? So that means I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to, that means taking our hand out of the pudding. We have our hand has the biggest chunk in the pudding, but we're being smacked consistently. And I think that in order for this reform to happen, we have to collectively agree that whatever we're doing is not working. And if we're feeding them and they're eating it and we're not being fed, then we have to take our spoon out. We have to take our we have to take our bread out. There's no more breaking bread right now, okay? Especially with people who don't know how to empathize with the killing of our people. There is no room. There's no room for empathy right now. Absolutely none. So what I do want to do is I want to do a different spread. That one I just kind of let hang out nilly-dilly. So what I do want to do now is focus more on a concentrated type of reading. I do see that there is room for improvement. However, it just won't look the way that we want it to. I think that there's going to be some things that we have to deal with prior to finding this new reform, in terms of policing and in terms of how we can help communities, right? Black communities. This is a conversation for Black people. The topic, I should say, the topic is Black people. So what I do want to do is let's use, yeah, I'm gonna use these two, and that Mott card is telling me that there's going to be a lot of judicial reform. We need our Black lawyers to step up right now. We need our Black people to really, this is a call to attention. This is a call for justice. This passion that we feel, we can no longer commit to whatever this world is provoking us. We cannot be provoked right now, because that is initially the energy that they are absolutely craving. They want to feed off of that rage. So we will see in just a second. Let's see. I want to look at America. So presently where we're at, instability, what we're looking forward to, what we're leaving behind. Interesting, subconsciously and unconsciously. There's a lot of swords here. The most that we're probably going to get is just a little offer of sympathy. But with time, I do think that there is room to rebuild, because especially, I'm telling you, think locally. If you can help your community locally, if you can advocate for those who are around you locally, wherever you're at, right? If that means volunteering at a food bank, if that means volunteering at a shelter, a women's shelter or a men's shelter, or whatever it is that you can do, if that means donating money, if that means just doing whatever you can locally, right? Locally and voting locally. If you can vote locally, then you can help those reforms kind of build a better structure. But I will say, though, as of right now, what the goal to do is to just breadcrumb Black people. And unfortunately, it's worked in the past, but I don't think it will work this time. I don't think that moving forward, unfortunately, I don't also see... there has to be harder conversations within the communities about what we need to fix in order to strengthen ourselves before we can focus on fighting someone who is stronger. And that's not to say that they are stronger, but statistically and, obviously they have more than we have at the moment. But because we acknowledge that, we can rebuild our structures to gain more, because they have nothing without us. So that is my biggest point. They have nothing without us. So the present moment, there is a lot of instability. There's a lot of clouds in this spread also. Subconsciously, we don't see this. Subconsciously, there's just I don't see this changing. I just think that there's a lot of breadcrumbing that's happening right now. And unfortunately, if we don't have those honest conversations, if we don't, those, okay. Yeah, we have to have those honest conversations. People have to speak out. People who are in high places have to speak out. That is the only way. This fear of losing your job, this fear of losing your identity, this fear, it's over anyway. Okay, after this, things are not going back to normal. Things are not going back to normal. So if you have it in your voice, if you have it in your authority, if you have the infrastructure, if you have the ability to help your communities locally, now is the time. If we want to build that Black Wall Street back up again, right? There's the only way that we can actually do that is by coming together, really, to commit to one, to commit as one. This can't be oh, he's a coon, oh, he's this, oh, he's that, oh, he's this. If that's the fact, then you need to isolate yourself from those people and focus on the people you do work with, right? Those are the people. This goes back to that blind spot. You have to really focus on your intuition to recognize, I can't trust him, but I can trust him. He seems to be more honest about who he is, and this person has more identity issues than I can see. So with that being said, those conversations have to be had. But I will say, you will say more with less right now. People are being attacked by speaking out. People are being attacked by opening up the truth. People are going to be, the truth will set you free, but it will piss you off first, for sure. And I think that in order to continue what we're doing right now, it would take a lot of people talking out. There's going to have to be a conversation. Like, this cannot end. We cannot allow this to end. This can't be a thing where the government kind of pushes this other thing, probably coronavirus, probably some other topic that they want us to kind of force feed us into, right? So this basically brings me back into that focus, that tunnel vision. That tunnel vision has to be a thing, because in order for us to decide what we're changing, we have to know what we're going to do. We have to know what we're letting go of. We have to know of what we're just not going to deal with anymore. And it has to be that brick wall, okay? That brick barrier against the people who do not support you. There has to be that brick tunnel vision where it's like, fuck you, pay me, right? So it's kind of just like, I'm not doing this with everybody. I'm doing this with the people who are supporting me and fighting with me. Give me 1 second, baby. So I'm actually going to end this here. I'm going to do another reading today because this is... Okay, give me 1 second, please. Yes. I gotta go. I hope you guys enjoyed this.